Welcome everyone. My name is Daniel. Today I'm going to tell you a very personal story. Something that honestly opened my eyes and taught me one of the biggest lessons about respect, boundaries, and knowing your worth. And believe me when I say, it's always the people closest to you who'll test that the most. So here's how it happened. I have a younger sister. Her name is Emma. We grew up very close. You know how some siblings grow apart when they get older? That wasn't us. Emma and I always had a strong bond. We'd go on long drives, talk about life, share dreams, support each other through all the ups and downs. In my mind, no matter what changed in life, we were family first. Now, for a little about me. I'm a photographer. I've been doing it for years, not just as a hobby, but professionally. My style is more creative. Portraits, lifestyle shoots, some events here and there. And Emma knows this. In fact, she's been one of my biggest supporters. Always showing off my photos, telling her friends how talented her brother is. And that meant a lot to me. So when Emma got engaged, naturally I was thrilled for her. I genuinely couldn't wait to be part of her big day. I was looking forward to everything, from the family gatherings to the ceremony itself. I thought, of course I'll be there, cheering her on, celebrating with her. About 2 months before the wedding, Emma called me one afternoon, super casual. We were just chatting, catching up. And then she said, "Hey Daniel, I had an idea. Would you mind bringing your camera to the wedding? Not like as the official photographer or anything, but maybe just grab some nice candid shots. You're so good at capturing those moments." It wasn't a formal request. She didn't offer any payment. There was no contract, no official agreement, just a favor. One sibling to another. And naturally I said yes. I didn't even hesitate. In my mind, I wasn't doing a job. I was just giving my sister a gift on her wedding day. Something personal. Something special. I imagined myself as both a guest and a brother who could help out in my own way. Time went on. The wedding date was getting closer. My mom, Patricia, was completely involved in all the planning. If you know my mom, you'll know she's a perfectionist. She had spreadsheets, to-do lists, mood boards, you name it. Every single detail of that wedding was mapped out in advance. One evening, about 3 weeks before the wedding, I was over at my mum's house for dinner. Emma was there too. After dinner, the two of them sat at the dining table going through the final guest list and seating chart. I wandered over with a drink in hand, just curious. I glanced at the list, and that's when something caught my eye. My name wasn't there. At first, I thought, oh, maybe it's a mistake. They've been so busy, maybe they accidentally left me off. So I smiled and joked, "Hey, where am I sitting? Don't tell me I've been uninvited." And that's when my mom, without blinking, said in this calm, matter-of-fact tone, "Oh no, honey, you're not on the guest list. You'll be working that day. You're the photographer, remember? You're the vendor." The vendor. I can't explain how deeply that word hit me. For a moment, I just stood there, almost frozen. Vendor? I wasn't hired. I wasn't being paid. I wasn't brought in through a contract. I wasn't asked professionally. I was doing this as a brother, from the heart. But in that instant, all that warmth, all that family connection, disappeared. To them, I wasn't a guest anymore. I wasn't family. I was labor. And worst of all, it wasn't even a conversation. It was just decided. Behind my back. I turned to Emma, expecting her to say something. To correct Mom. I thought she'd jump in with, "Of course Daniel's a guest." But no. She just nodded and said, "Yeah, we figured since you'll be moving around with your camera, it didn't really make sense to give you a seat." That moment was crushing. Not because of the seat. I didn't care about sitting down. It was about respect, about appreciation, about being seen, not as someone performing free labor, but as her brother. I didn't want to cause drama, so I stayed quiet the rest of the evening. But all night long, it ate away at me. The more I thought about it, the more it hurt. Here I was, thinking I was part of the celebration, thinking I was supporting my sister on one of the biggest days of her life. And instead, I'd been reduced to the vendor. Not even worth a seat. Not even worth being acknowledged as family. The next morning, after thinking it over, I called Emma. I wasn't angry. I wasn't yelling. But I was clear. I said, "Emma, I need to talk to you. When you asked me to take photos, I said yes because I love you. Not because I wanted a job. I'm your brother, not a vendor. But hearing that I'm not even on the guest list, that I'm not seen as a guest or family anymore, that hurts." I paused and added, "If this is how you and Mom see it, if I'm just a vendor, then I think it's better if I don't bring my camera at all." She was surprised. There was a long silence on the phone. Finally, she said, "Well, I didn't mean it like that. But if that's how you feel." And that was it. In that moment, I realized something huge. People will take your kindness for granted if you let them. Even family. Even people you love. And the sad truth? The more you give without boundaries, the more some people will come to expect and feel entitled to your time, your skills, your energy. So I made my decision. I didn't take photos at the wedding. I showed up later, not as a photographer, not as a vendor, but as a brother. No camera in hand. Just a simple reminder to myself. I deserve respect. And if someone can't offer that, it's okay to step back. The moral of this story? Simple. Never let anyone, not even family, treat you like you're less than you are. Set your boundaries. Know your worth. Because at the end of the day, respect is earned, but it also has to be demanded. And remember this. You teach people how to treat you. Through the standards you set. Through the boundaries you protect. And through the courage you show, even when it's hard.